Ever wonder what happens to Hollywood's most luxurious mansions when their owners leave for good? Some of the most stunning celebrity homes now sit abandoned, shrouded in mystery, with eerie pasts that make them more like haunted houses than dream estates. The Greystone Mansion, a murder mystery, locked in time.
The real-life murder that happened here, well before.
Sitting in Beverly Hills like a scene from a gothic horror novel, Greystone Mansion isn't just a massive estate. It's a crime scene frozen in time. Built in the 1920s for oil tycoon Edward Dohany's son, this 55-room mansion is legendary for its eerie past. In 1929, just a few months after moving in, Edward Ned Dohany Jr. was found dead inside the mansion alongside his assistant, Hugh Plunkett. Some say it was a murder-suicide, others claim it was a cover-up, but either way, the house never really recovered. People who visit report strange whispers in the halls.
Did you hear it?
Doors opening on their own, and lights flickering for no reason. Today, it's mostly used for filming movies, but trust me, nobody stays there overnight. The Los Feliz Murder House. A house stuck in 1959.
Everybody have some pretty strange things for sale. These people have been here forever.
This mansion looks like it was abandoned in a hurry, because it was. Back in 1959, Dr. Harold Perelson, a wealthy physician, snapped. He brutally murdered his wife with a hammer and then tried to kill his children before taking his own life. Since that horrifying night, the house has barely changed. For decades, the mansion sat untouched, Christmas decorations still in place, furniture gathering dust, as if the family had just stepped out. People who've dared to explore the grounds claim they hear footsteps inside, even though no one lives there.
We do capture what sounds like an unexplained footstep on this X camera.
Just a little turn north, but I'm still okay. Whoa.
Some say they've seen shadows moving behind the windows. It's been sold a few times, but nobody ever stays for long.
Well, in 1960, the mansion was sold to Emily and Julian Enriquez, but they never moved in.
Nicolas Cage's haunted New Orleans mansion.
Nestled in the heart of the French Quarter in New Orleans stands one of America's most notorious haunted houses, LaLaurie Mansion.
What happens when one of Hollywood's biggest stars buys one of America's most haunted houses? Well, not even Nicolas Cage could handle it. This New Orleans mansion, known as the LaLaurie Mansion, was once home to Madame Delphine LaLaurie, a high society woman who turned out to be a real-life monster. Back in the 1800s, LaLaurie tortured and experimented on enslaved people in her hidden chambers.
She decided to torture her slaves in all possible ways vehemently.
When the truth came out, she fled, but the horrors she left behind never faded. Nicolas Cage bought the mansion, hoping to own a piece of history, but after only a few years, he got rid of it. Visitors and locals claim they still hear screams from inside. Some even say they've seen ghostly figures watching them from the windows. The Winchester Mystery House, a mansion built by ghosts.
In San Jose, California, stands one of the largest and most bizarre private residences in the United States.
Okay, this one is just insane. Imagine living in a house that's constantly being built. Forever. That's exactly what happened with the Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. Sarah Winchester, widow of the famous gunmaker, believed she was cursed by the spirits of people killed by Winchester rifles. Her solution? Keep building her house. Forever. The result? A mansion with over 160 rooms, staircases that lead to nowhere, doors that open into walls, and secret passages everywhere.
There's doors that you step through them, you'll land in a kitchen sink on the first floor. It's almost like an Escher picture in some way.
It's designed to confuse ghosts, but honestly, it just makes it one of the creepiest places in Hollywood history. The house is still open for tours, but let's just say you're never truly alone inside. The Beverly Hills Witch's House, a fairy tale turned nightmare.
I had been showing this home, and I fell in love with what I could do with it. I bought it in '98 thinking, like most homers do, that I could do a quick fluff and remodel.
This mansion looks like something out of a dark fairy tale. Crooked roofs, twisted trees, and an unsettling energy that makes people stop and stare. Known as the Witch's House, this Beverly Hills home was originally built as a silent film set in the 1920s.
It hasn't been in a lot of films. I think people imagine that it has been. A lot of people think it was in Hocus Pocus because there's a home similar to it at the beginning of the film, but it was absolutely not.
Later, it became a private residence, but locals say weird things happen here. Visitors claim they hear cackling at night, lights flicker even when no one's home, and mysterious figures appear in the windows. Some say the house itself is cursed. Others think it's just an illusion. Either way, you won't catch me knocking on that door. The Houdini Mansion, a magician's ghostly playground legend, has it that the ghost of Harry Houdini still lingers around his old mansion in the Hollywood Hills. Houdini, the world-famous escape artist, used this mansion for training and secret performances. But after a tragic fire and years of abandonment, the place has become a hotspot for ghost hunters. People claim to hear chains rattling in the basement, strange whispers in the halls, and even the faint sound of applause, like a ghostly audience still watching Houdini perform. If you ever visit, don't be surprised if something tries to escape with you. The Pickfair Estate, a love story with a dark ending.
A lavish palace where Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks reigned as cinema's royalty, hosting legendary gatherings that defined an era of unprecedented glamour.
Once the grandest mansion in Hollywood, Pickfair Estate was home to silent film stars Mary Pickford and Douglas Fairbanks. It was like the royal palace of old Hollywood, until things turned creepy. After Pickford passed away, new owners moved in, only to experience terrifying encounters. Guests reported cold spots, unexplained noises, and even sightings of a woman in white roaming the halls. Some say it was Pickford herself, refusing to leave. Despite its history, the mansion was eventually torn down, but its ghostly presence still lingers in Hollywood lore. The Playboy Mansion, more than just a party house.
Are there rules, like can you have boyfriends at all? No. You're not allowed
Half
to?
is our boyfriends.
How do you know when you're called to the master bedroom? Do you have nights?
Yeah.
Most people think of the Playboy Mansion as a place filled with wild parties and Hollywood glamour. But after Hugh Hefner passed away, things took a dark turn.
So this family estate is the key piece of property of this entire section of Southern California.
Left abandoned and neglected, the mansion now sits in eerie silence. Visitors who've walked past say they hear faint music playing, even though nobody's inside. Some claim to have seen shadowy figures near the famous grotto. Could it be the spirits of the past, still partying in the afterlife? Or just a house that refuses to be forgotten? Either way, it's not the same place it used to be. The Ennis House, Hollywood's most haunted film set.
This 8,000 square foot home was built in 1924 and is one of the most recognizable homes in the hills of Los Angeles.
If this mansion looks familiar, it's because you've probably seen it in horror movies. The Ennis House, designed by legendary architect Frank Lloyd Wright, has been used in countless films, including Blade Runner and House on Haunted Hill. Why? Because this place is straight up unsettling. Weird echoes, dark hallways, and an energy that makes your skin crawl. Some say the house itself has a mind of its own. Even actors who filmed here say they felt like they were being watched. If you're looking for a real-life haunted house, this might be it. The Drew Mansion. The Drew Mansion was once a breathtaking Hollywood estate.
Sadly, it looks like this, and so do a lot of other buildings in Jacksonville that are all found inside this book, Abandoned Jacksonville.
A symbol of old Hollywood's glamour. Built in the 1920s, it housed silent film stars who were rumored to have dabbled in the occult. Over the years, strange symbols have been found carved into its walls, adding to its eerie reputation. Neighbors have reported hearing unsettling chanting at night, even though the house has been abandoned for decades. Some say the mansion is cursed. Every attempt to restore it has ended abruptly, with owners mysteriously abandoning the project before completion. Now, covered in ivy and falling apart, the once grand estate sits in eerie silence, a chilling reminder of its dark past. Many refuse to go near it, fearing what lingers inside. Bela Lugosi's haunted retreat. Bela Lugosi, the man who brought Dracula to life, once lived in a towering Gothic-style mansion that looked like it was plucked straight from Transylvania. Dark, eerie, and grand, the house became just as legendary as the actor himself. But after Lugosi's death, the mansion fell into disrepair, abandoned to time and shadows. Ghost hunters believe his spirit still lingers, refusing to leave the home he loved. Visitors have reported sightings of a tall, shadowy figure drifting through the halls, while others claim to hear whispers in a chilling voice saying, "I am Dracula." Some even swear they've seen bats circling the property as if Lugosi himself is still watching from beyond the grave. The Ozzie and Harriet Nelson home. Once a warm and lively home for the famous Nelson family, this mansion has now become something far more unsettling. After being abandoned, it didn't just fall silent, it seemed to hold on to echoes of the past. Brave visitors who dared to step inside have reported hearing soft 1950s music playing from nowhere, followed by the eerie sound of a woman humming. Some even claim they've seen the ghostly figure of Harriet Nelson herself, gracefully walking through the halls as if she's still reliving her Hollywood glory days. Whether it's just the house remembering its past or something supernatural at play, one thing is certain. This once happy home has taken on a haunting new life of its own. The Linda Vista Hospital Mansion. Alright, so technically this one isn't a mansion, but with its massive, eerie structure, it might as well be. Once a hospital catering to Hollywood's elite, this place turned into something straight out of a horror movie.
I came to the facility in 1988. I was one of the directors for the hospital at the time.
After shutting its doors in the 90s, it didn't just sit empty. It became a magnet for ghost hunters and thrill seekers. Visitors report hearing the unmistakable sound of hospital gurneys rolling down the hallways, even though not a single soul is there. Flickering lights, sudden cold spots, and disembodied whispers only add to the spine-chilling atmosphere. But the creepiest part? A mysterious lady in white is often seen standing at the windows, staring blankly at visitors before fading into thin air. Is she a former patient? A nurse? No one knows, but she never seems to leave. Who knew Hollywood had so many terrifying abandoned mansions? Some are filled with tragic history, others with paranormal mysteries, but one thing's for sure, you won't catch me spending the night in any of them. Which of these haunted mansions creeps you out the most? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.